In this painting, I want the light to feel soft, almost glowing, sort of like it might on a really early winter morning. Now, what I'm going to do with this background is I want it to be dappled looking. And so right from the beginning, I'm not putting on in streaks. I'm putting it on with this kind of look. Now there's a little bit of snow right on this little clump. So we'll keep that. And then, of course, we're going to go around the main clump of snow. And then I want to keep moving so my paper doesn't dry. So that oh, whoops, I forgot and did that clump. It'll be okay. Most of the mistakes that you make are okay. There's ways to fix almost everything. And when you can overcome the fear of messing up because you know you can fix it, it makes painting so much more enjoyable. I'm going to just soften this edges on this because I want it to fade into the background. Now when this happens, you're starting to get blooms. It means you had drier paper against wetter paper and it just moves to the wetter spots. So I'm going to go back over and wet everything again. And that's the way to fix that. I decided to add this little bit of glow to look like the sun was hitting it early in the morning. Now just softening the edges, I rinsed my brush and I'm just touching that edge and letting it run. Now it might have been better to wait until my blue was dry to do that. So I'm going to use a hairdryer and stop it from spreading. And then under here, there's just going to be more dark. Because it has all those branches going in there. And if this looks funny to you, just don't worry, because when the bouquet gets on here, it fixes a lot of stuff. I'm going to put a little bit of color in there that a winter scene might have. I'm starting with colors that are more vibrant than a typical winter palette because I'm tired of gray snow. And I'm more interested in how color can still feel quiet once it's softened by light and atmosphere. Now I'm going to go in with some pastier paint and do these. I want these to be way in the background so they can spread out as much as they want. When it's drier, I'll do the foreground ones, and I'm just going to let them run a little bit. And they look kind of annoying right now, a little bit odd, but they'll be okay. I'm going to make them, some of them, a little bit grayer. I'm going to dry that. Now there's a little glow at the bottom. It's not an even stripe glow. I'm just kind of wiggling my brush around, letting it get some different colors in there. And then over here, there's a lot more white. And so see how that kind of looks icy? Well, I want to do that here too. I just want to do it with a darker color than what I put down because I wanted to establish some shading. And here it's not dark enough. One of the ways that I tell whether something's dark enough is by doing this. And see, actually, I don't have that dark enough. Right there, that's pretty close. And it's a great tool for values. I use it pretty much all the time. Almost every painting. And I'm just using a really pointy brush and making squiggles. I don't want to get so much detail in here. I'm somewhat copying that up there, but then I'm going to get it wet and let it run together a little bit. What I do want is the shadowing. After a while, sometimes everything starts to look the same. And so then it's good to get up. In fact, it's good to get up quite often while you're painting. and look at it from a different angle. The stems I've gotten some bleed proof white out for to do these lighter ones over here. So I've lost all my drawing. So I'm just guessing. The stem is here, and these, well, I can see a couple of them over here. So I'm going to put these main ones in and then go back. Okay, you get the idea how to do these. The thing that I want to point out now is the differences in color. Like these are kind of rust. They have a little bit highlight at the top. These are almost a dark blue at the top. And so if you do some of those nuances of color so that everything's not all the same color, it'll look better. Everything you need to make this painting is in the description below. All right, it's getting kind of tangled back there, which is what it really looks like, but I'm not planning to make it as tangled as that. And now that I've done those, I see where I need some more. And I didn't get this one high enough, but I'm going to give it extra long little branches. Now we need a few stems over here that are a bit more detailed. I love teaching, and it would really help me to keep doing it if you would hit subscribe and the like button. Thank you. That's probably enough emphasis on those. And we might want to put some in when we're done. So now I'm going to do the bouquet next. I'm saving the finishing of this until the very last. This is my stencil brush, and I'm going to stick it in water and then push it down into my sponge so it's sort of dry wet. Now I use all different sizes. I make sure that they overlap with each other, and I will get smaller as I go back. So in the front, I'm going to start with some pretty big ones, and all you do is rub. And depending on what color you have, and then you dab it with a tissue, and then you dry this off with a tissue. Depending on what color you have, you might want to not rub as hard. So the blue-green colors, they come off pretty well. Sometimes the pinks don't come off as well. Now beside that, we want a small one that overlaps it a little bit. And see how that looks more natural than if they were all polka dotted, evenly spaced. Now I'm just putting them where I think there should be a little bit of light. And then if you want to, like I could put one right over this and then come back in, but I think I kind of like it, so I'm gonna just wait and see. These I definitely want to have some softening of edges. They've got to be much more foreground. And I'm just going to do a bunch of these. You keep going until it looks right. Right now it's looking polka dotted, and usually that means you need to overlap something. Bigger ones. You have to rinse your brush every now and then squish it back into your sponge to get it a little bit drier. The more you try and do more than one at a time, the faster it'll go. And see how soft it's starting to look with just doing that many? And we have a ways to go yet. Now we want some back in here, but I don't want to take off too much paint. So I'm getting my brush wet again and sticking it in the sponge, and this time I'm going to actually get it a little bit drier. That worked out really well. I can put those back in the foreground if I want to. And I just about have enough in this corner. I might change my mind later, but I need some more up here. And I'm going to put one right on the edge. We'll soften that edge, but I'll put the white back on top of there, the bleed proof white, to finish off the tip of the flower, and see how that makes a disappearing edge happen. I'm going to go in with some bleed proof white and give this a much more frosted look. See how much lighter that is than this? And if you look through here, you'll see that I'm off whack on that. Down here, maybe a little bit too dark there, but not too bad. I often, when there's something white involved, I often go back afterwards and I put down bleed proof white. And the reason I do that is because bleed proof white is white and the paper's not, and there's some things that just should be white. Separate clumps, I'm trying to separate them out. Now I'm just looking at it to see what it needs, and it definitely needs some more stems that come up through here. I'm not necessarily going to put the star or flower thing on top of them, but going to have some stems that come in front. And then I'm just going to have some of the star things that come in front way down here. And now that's helping it to lose some of the cut edge. Look at the very bottom. That white helped to break up the cut edge up there. It is starting to look almost like a flower. And so I think I don't want that. And so I'm going to mix some blue in with this white and come up in here with some blue. In my head, the idea of having a colorful glow at the edge is not coming out how I thought. I think what I should have done is just had it at the very tips. But this is how I'm going to fix it. If you want to paint this and you want it to be easier, just follow that shape and those shadows instead of trying to change everything. I do want some of these. They must have gotten some of the brown from the stems on my brush. And so I want them a little bit lighter. So I'm just going to go in and make dots with my brush on some of these, especially that got an outline on them. Now before I do anything else, I'm going to take this tape off. It's so much easier when you take the tape off to tell what's going on. And so I definitely think I need some splatters of snow. And the way that I like to do that the best is with the stencil brush, which I dry it pretty thoroughly. And then I put it in some white and I do this. But I always practice. So there's not enough paint on there. It wasn't doing anything. So that's why you practice. And that's a little too much. But now I think the second. Oops, those got kind of big. So do those. So we'll stab them those ones up a little bit. So I finished, and then I thought I had some places that I wanted to lighten the background a little bit. And so I'm going back into those spaces. Like right here, I just thought it was a little bit too loud. I wanted a soft background, not a loud background. I'm going to do a great big one here. And the bigger ones soften things more. See the difference that made? So I'm going to do some more big ones up here. And the little ones don't go away, but it softens everything around them. I'm just getting some of the brighter, louder colors up without doing bokeh, just using my stencil brush. in the end, I'm always chasing the same thing, a painting that feels alive and honest, and that in some small way reflects how I feel about the master artist, Jesus.